Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you've watched my previous video on the tips and tricks where I give you about 12 tips and tricks regarding how you can actually go ahead and ace the reading section on the IELTS. So in this video, we're going to be following those same tips and tricks. We're going to be following those strategies and we're going to be applying them to a live passage. Now, while on the actual IELTS test, you would be getting this passage and you'll be getting about 20 minutes, right, in order to actually go through this and solve the questions. In our case, it may take us a little bit longer because I want to make sure that you understand the way I actually go about this process, the thought process that goes on in my mind, and the way I actually go ahead and do these questions. That's really important, and that's something I want you guys to take away from this video. And I ensure you'll be able to do that very, very well by the end of this video. So just one passage, do it with me, give me 20-25 minutes, and I assure you that you will have no trouble on the actual IELTS reading test. Great. So let us actually go ahead and begin. This passage is about a case study which is about a website. It's called Tourism New Zealand website. Okay, and that's what we're going to be reading about. Then we're going to be answering questions. Okay, there's 13 questions in total. There's 7 questions over here and 8 to 13 over here. So like I said, first 30 seconds we want to examine what they're going to be asking us about. So the most important one over here, you have to choose only one word. Remember, this instruction is very important. Like I said, pay attention to it. Then they're going to be talking to us about some sections of a website, database of tourism services, ease of tourism related businesses to get on the list. Now when you read this, right, whenever you actually come across something like this, easy for tourism related businesses to get on the list, you will know that your summary question has started, and that's when you will be able to pay attention and solve the question side by side. So remember, I just read this first part. Just in case I miss out, I'll just read the second one as well a little bit so that I'll make sure that I don't miss out this section when I'm actually reading. So allow businesses to do something about the information regularly. Okay, so that's something that we have to again go over. Then there's questions 8 to 13. These are true, false, not given. Usually I recommend you do these at the end of the passage, regardless of whether they are questions 1, 2, 3 or whether they are 8, 9, 10. You want to do them in the end. These can change, the positions can change, but you want to tackle them in the end. So I think I've already evaluated the questions a little bit. I understand how the passage is going to unfold and where I have to pay attention when I get to the point where I have to solve the questions. And now I'll begin with the solving. Okay, I'll just keep this right over here. This is where we'll answer the questions. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, right, like that. Alright, let's start reading. And remember, please make sure how I read. Keep a note of that. Remember everything, okay? So I'm just gonna be going a little bit slower in this case. It's not my actual speed because when I'm doing this in my mind, I'm a lot faster. But just to show you guys, I might be a little bit slow. It may take more than 20 minutes, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. You need to actually go ahead and do this with me, okay? So New Zealand is a small country of 4 million inhabitants, a long haul flight from all the major tourist generating markets of the world. Okay, so it's very far away from the tourism markets. Tourism currently makes up 9% of the country's gross domestic product and is the country's largest export sector. So they're exporting tourism in such a way because people are basically coming over here for tourism and they're paying. Interesting. Unlike other export sectors which make the products and then sell them overseas, tourism brings its customers to New Zealand. It's great. The product is the country itself, the people, the places, and the experiences. In 1999, Tourism New Zealand launched a campaign to communicate a new brand position to the world. The campaign focused on New Zealand's scenic beauty, exhilarating outdoor activities, and authentic Maori culture, and it made New Zealand one of the strongest national brands in the world. Notice that I actually passed over some words that I do not understand. Maori culture, I do not know that. I'm assuming that's the culture of New Zealand, okay? Or maybe one of their histories that's very, very popular. Okay, that's okay. Okay, they're trying to create a new brand position. That part I understand. You know, they're trying to make sure that they are marketing themselves in such a way that New Zealand is a great country. Tourists should come over here. Okay. Still, one important bit. Are we ready to solve the questions there? I would say no. We did not come across this part. Easy for tourism related businesses to get on the list. I have not witnessed that yet, and I'm going to keep reading until I get to that point. Okay. So A key feature of the campaign was the website www.newzealand.com, which provided potential visitors to New Zealand with a single gateway to everything the destination has to offer. The heart of the website was a database of tourism operators, both those based in New Zealand and those based abroad, which offered tourism service to the country. Any tourism related business could be listed by filling up a form. This meant that even the smallest bed and breakfast address or specialist activity provider could gain web presence with access to an audience of long haul visitors. In addition, because participating businesses were able to update the details given on a regular basis, the information provided remained accurate. Okay, so this is the part that we've reached. This is the point that I have to continue reading it from. But for now, I know the database of tourism services has been covered. We've already covered easy for tourism related businesses to get on the list. Okay, so this is where the summary question has already begun. Just to make sure that I finish this paragraph first, and then we'll start solving some of the questions. Okay, so and to maintain and improve standards, Tourism New Zealand organized a scheme whereby organizations appearing on the website underwent an independent evaluation against a set of agreed national standards of quality. Okay, so even though anyone can actually go ahead list their business on this website, they're still having some standards that the website has to conform to, some independent evaluations. As a part of this, the effect of each business on the environment was considered. So maybe something about the nature environment, how they're impacting, how the business impacts that environment. Okay, so that's your first paragraph for the summary question. Now we'll go over here and we'll start solving the questions. Remember, it's extremely important that you pay attention at this point. Okay, database of tourism services, yes, this is the first part that we've read. Easy for tourism related businesses to get on the list, very well, we actually know this. Allowed businesses to blank information regularly. So what can businesses do with information regularly? And I actually remember we read something about businesses being able to change or update the information regularly, and this was over here. This meant that even the smallest bed and breakfast or specialist activity provider could gain a web presence, access to the audience, and in addition, because participating businesses were able to update the details they were given. See, update the details, this is the same thing, update the information. So I would say the answer over here is update. Okay, so we're ready to solve the second one. Provided a country-wide evaluation of businesses, including their impact on the blank. So when it comes to the evaluation of businesses, we have actually read something about this in the last line itself. And to maintain and improve standards, Tourism New Zealand organized a scheme whereby organizations appearing on the website underwent an independent evaluation, evaluation of businesses, against a set of agreed national standards of quality. Okay, so we want to tell their impact on the what? Well, what are we measuring? We actually saw this here, and this was, as a part of this, the effect of each business on the environment. So their impact on the environment was considered. So the answer over here, remember, you can only pick one word like it says, and the one word has to come from the passage itself. So it has to come from the exact passage. You cannot change the words, you cannot modify them usually, and you can just select them and you can answer it over here. So environment is what I'll write over here. Third one over here, example, an interview with a former sports. Okay, this is not something that we've read yet, so that's when we move on to the next paragraph. Remember, these summary questions are always in the order they appear in. So if I've done these questions 1 and 2, that means the third one will definitely come after the second one, and the third one will also come before the fourth one. They're always in order, so you need to memorize that thing. It's helpful for you, and now you can actually go ahead, read the next paragraph. I'm pretty sure the answer to the third one should be in here itself. Okay, to communicate the New Zealand experience, the site also carried features relating to famous people and places. Interesting. One of the most popular one was an interview with the former New Zealand All Blacks rugby captain Tana Umaga. Okay, and this is where we actually read about some sports interview with the former sports something. So I think they're talking about a sports captain. So without even because I actually knew the question, I didn't even have to go through the paragraph again for the answer. I could just figure out the answer over here. So they're talking about a captain. Interview with a former sports what? Well, he's a former sports captain, All Blacks rugby captain, right? And that fits. So we'll say captain over here. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Before I move on, start reading again. Remember, I'm still reading at a slow pace. I can be a very fast as compared to this. But the important point is that I'm trying to tell you how to do this. And if I can show you how to do this in a slow manner, you can understand my thought process, you can actually reproduce that in the faster pace. I'm sure you can do that easily. Okay, so we'll move on over here. I'll just read the question first and then I'll go back to the passage. So, special features on local topics. We already did the sports interview with the captain, and an interactive tour of various locations used in blank. Used in what? That's what we have to figure out. Okay? So, another feature that attracted a lot of attention was an interactive journey through a number of locations chosen for blockbuster films, which had made use of New Zealand's stunning scenery as a backdrop. So sometimes you might not know the meaning of these words. Don't worry, you don't need to do that. Okay? As the site developed, additional features were added to help independent travelers devise their own customized itineraries. To make it easier to plan motoring holidays, the site catalogued the most popular driving routes in the country, highlighting different routes according to the season and distances and times. Okay, so the website is doing a lot more than just giving you all of those, basically giving you all the businesses and where you can go ahead and plan your trips, but it's also letting you get a lot more cultural experience into New Zealand, you can say. So, and an interactive tour of various locations used in what? Well, we actually saw something about some blockbuster movies, I believe. Right, so an interactive journey through a number of locations chosen for blockbuster films, right? And that's exactly what they're talking about. So the answer over here is films. We'll move on to the next one, fifth one over here. And information on driving routes vary depending on the blank. I don't think we read about the driving routes, but I don't think we've read anything about highlighting the routes. Okay, according to the season. According to the season, they vary. So this is the answer over here. Okay, so depending on the season, the routes were changing. Okay, so this is again one of the most important parts. Let's actually go ahead, move on to the next question in this case now, and that is going to be travel planner. So see how easily we are getting through the passage and we're doing the questions side by side. We're not moving back and forth, we're not finishing the passage and we're not moving to the questions. And again, very important point. Let's see the next question. Now I think you're catching the trend. You can actually do this yourself as well. You can actually pause the video and try to do this yourself first, and then we can move on. Okay, travel planner included a map showing selected places, details of public transport and local blank. Okay, so I think I'll have to read more in order to understand what they're talking about over here. So later, a travel planner feature was added, which allowed visitors to click and bookmark places or attractions they were interested in, and then view the results on a map. Okay, so they can basically mark the places where they want to, keep track of. The travel planner offered suggested routes and public transport options between the chosen locations. There were also links to accommodation in the area. By registering with the website, the users could save their travel plan and return to it later, or print it out to take it out on a visit. The website also had a Your Words section where anyone could submit a blog of their New Zealand travels for possible inclusion on the website. Wow, okay. So travel planner, we actually went through that in the first half of the paragraph, talking about including a map showing selected places. Yes, that it definitely did. Details of public transport and local what? Well, remember, when you actually go over here, you want to look for public transport. And after that, you should get your answer. Or maybe before that, you should get your answer. Somewhere near public transport. So over here, remember we talked about the travel planner offered suggested routes, public transport options between the chosen locations. Okay. There were also links to accommodation in the area. And they're asking about, and local what? Well, in the area, local accommodation. So accommodation is the answer. Remember, spelling's very, very important. Don't know the spelling, don't worry about it, but copy the spelling correctly, okay? Accommodation. Right, so we've actually done that, and I think I actually got the spelling wrong over here. Did get the spelling wrong, so I'm gonna cross-check and I'm gonna fix that. So that's really important, guys. You see, no matter how confident you may be, just cross-check it and make sure that you don't make this mistake, but like I was going to. Anyway, so question number 7 over here, your words. We actually just read this part as well in the same paragraph, your words section. Travelers could send a link to their blank. Well, I think they were talking about they can submit a blog. I'm not sure if we can send a link as well. The website also had a your words section where anyone could submit a blog of their New Zealand travels for possible inclusion on the website. I think they mean blog. So a link of their blog, they can that's what they can send, right? So that's your summary question done. All 7 of those. And now we're ready to move on to the true false questions. Now what I'm going to do is, again, I won't start reading the passage now. I know I've read this much of the passage. So maybe some of those true false questions can already be solved by this much of the passage. If that is true in this case, in a lot of cases it can be true, in a lot of cases it can be false. So if I'm able to solve some questions, I'll do some. If I'm not able to do some, then I'll go on and read the passage with these questions in mind. So the website newzealand.com aimed to provide ready-made itineraries and packages for travel companies and individual tourists. We haven't really talked about what the website aimed to do. It definitely did not talk about, that was their aim. So I would say this is not given, but I'll still not be sure right now, so I won't answer this. I'll still read more. It was found that most visitors started searching on the website. No, we haven't read this. According to research, 26% of visitor satisfaction is related to their accommodation. We haven't read this as well. So you see, most of this we can't really say if it's given or not given, if it's true or false. So what I suggest we do is we read the rest of the passage really, really quickly. And once we have done reading the passage, then I think we'll be a lot more sure about our answers. We'll know if something is not given. This is the trick with not given questions. Because unless you read the complete passage, you cannot be sure about the fact that whether those not given questions are indeed not given. Maybe they're in the last paragraph, right? So that's why you have to read it for these questions. So always try to do true, false, not given, yes, no, not given in the end. That's gonna help. Okay. So the Tourism New Zealand website won 2 Webby Awards for online achievement and innovation. More importantly, perhaps, the growth of tourism to New Zealand was impressive. Overall tourism expenditure increased by an average 6.9% per year between 1999 to 2004. From Britain, visits to the New Zealand grew at an average annual rate of 13% between 2002 and 2006, compared to a rate of 4% overall for the British visits abroad. So they're just telling how the website impacted in a positive way, increased the visits to New Zealand, increased their revenue. The website was set up to allow both individuals and travel organizations to create itineraries and travel packages to suit their own needs and interests. And this is why we read the questions. This is why we read the questions, because I just got the answer to one of the questions. Which one? The number 8. It says, the website newzealand.com aimed to provide ready-made itineraries and packages for travel companies and individual tourists. Does it aim to provide, and the keyword is ready-made, does it aim to provide ready-made itineraries? I would say it doesn't. It doesn't provide those, because what they're essentially saying is it aimed to create itineraries and travel packages to suit their own needs and interests. So basically, any individual or travel organization can use this website to create their own package, their own itinerary to suit their own needs and interests. So it's definitely not ready-made. So the answer over here would be false. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. And the next is, it was found that most visitors started searching on this website. Okay, but we haven't really covered that, so we'll continue reading the passage. On the website, visitors can search for activities not solely by geographical location, but also by particular nature of the activity. Okay, so there, you got your answer. I think this is definitely related to this. It was found that most visitors started searching the website by geographical location, but this is not given yet. Maybe it's given in the future. Let's read the passage to know more. This is important as research shows that activities are key driver of visitor satisfaction, contributing 74% to visitor satisfaction, while transport and accommodation account for the remaining 26%. The more activities the visitors undertake, the more satisfied will they be. It has been found that visitors enjoy cultural activities most when they are interactive, such as visiting a marae meeting ground to learn more about traditional Maori life. Many long-haul travelers enjoy such learning experiences which provide them with stories to take home to their friends and family. In addition, it appears that the visitors to New Zealand don't want to be one of the crowd and find activities that involve a few people more special and meaningful. They don't want to be in the crowd, not where a lot of people are doing these activities. Okay, so I think this paragraph actually gave us a lot of answers. We can go ahead and read the next one, but I think I can do some questions over here. it was found that most visitors started searching on the website by geographical location. Now we read about geographical location over here. On the websites, visitors can search for activities not solely by geographical location, but also by their particular nature of the activity. But it's never really mentioned how most of the users are starting their search. They're just saying that you can do it by geographical location, you can do it by some other means. They're not saying that everyone started by geographical location, so it's definitely not given. Okay. We can take a look at the next one, which is, according to research, 26% of visitor satisfaction is related to accommodation. This is a tricky one. I did read 26%, so here it is. So they were saying this is important as research shows that activities are key drivers of visitor satisfaction, contributing 74% to visitor satisfaction, while transport and accommodation account for the remaining 26%. And over here it says, according to research, 26% of satisfaction is related to accommodation, which is not true, right? Because how can 26% be related to accommodation when some part of it is definitely based on travel as well? So I would say that this is false in this case. Okay, and we'll move on to the 11th one. Okay, 11th one. Visitors to New Zealand like to become involved in the local culture. I did read something about this. Maori life, because we read about Maori culture earlier, so I know this is the historical culture. It has also been found that visitors enjoy cultural activities most when they are interactive, such as visiting a marae meeting ground to learn about Maori culture. Many long-haul travelers enjoy such learning experiences, which provide them with stories to take home and family. So yeah, I would say this is generally true. Visitors to New Zealand do like to become involved in the local culture, so this definitely has to be true. And by the way, guys, I haven't done 2 more yet, but one thing you want to note is I've covered all 3 kinds of answers. I have true over here. One of the answers can be true, one of the is false, and one is not given. Okay, now we can repeat the answers, but usually we'll see on the IELTS, all 3 of these will be covered. So even if you have 3 or 4 questions, true or false, not given, you will see at least one answer will be true, at least one answer will be false, at least one answer will be not given. And this will happen every single case, so that everything is covered. If you've not covered all of them, you're going wrong. That's one more tip that I can give you. In my preparation, I've seen this all the time. If you've not covered all the answers, chances are you're going wrong. Make sure that you check out the answers. Sometimes if you're doubtful, change the doubtful one to something that you believe that can be the answer, just to cover all of these. Okay, of course, this doesn't have to be the case in every case, but I would generally recommend following this if you're not sure about the answers. Okay. So now we can go ahead and we can do the 12th one. Visitors like staying in small hotels rather than in larger ones. So we did not actually read this till now. Maybe we'll read this in the last paragraph, so let's do that. It could be argued that New Zealand is not a typical destination. New Zealand is a small country with a visitor economy composed of mainly small businesses. It is generally perceived as a safe English-speaking country with a reliable transport infrastructure. Because of the long-haul flight, most visitors stay for longer, an average of 20 days, and want to see as much of the country as possible on what is seen often as a once-in-a-lifetime visit. However, underlying lessons apply everywhere. The effectiveness of a strong brand, a strategy based on unique experiences, and a comprehensive and user-friendly website. Okay, so we did not read anything about staying in small hotels. I definitely did not read it over here as well. You guys can also check it out, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be not given, because really there's no information given about this thing, right? And finally, there's 13. Many visitors feel it is unlikely that they will return to New Zealand after their visit. Now, this is not saying that they did not like the trip, but they're saying that many visitors feel that they will only come to New Zealand once in a lifetime. And we actually saw this often seen as a once in a lifetime visit, because we actually read this about the country, that it's far away from all the other tourism hotspots, so it's a little bit harder to get to. And they're also writing it over here, once in a lifetime visit. So yeah, I would say this is true. Okay, and that's your solutions to all the questions. Literally all of them are covered in here. I hope that this gives you some more perspective, because I think we still covered it within 20 minutes. If not 20 minutes, maybe we took 21, 22, because I was explaining a little bit. But you can see how if we were doing this passage without the explanations, it could have easily been done within 15, 16 minutes max. Should not have taken more than that. Okay, so I hope that this video gives you some more perspective on top of that. Apart from that, this is not the hardest of the passages we'll see on the IELTS. There are definitely harder ones. There are definitely harder questions out there. But what I wanted to give you in this process is a thought process. So I definitely did not choose the hardest one. But again, it's your wish, guys. If you let me know or you want one more of these videos where I have to speak for 30 minutes, I would probably make one again. So I hope this helps though. And I think this video is definitely something you should share with other people who are taking the IELTS. So I'll be doing the same for, a reading section is done now. So speaking, listening, writing, I'll be trying to do all of these as well in the next videos, upcoming videos. There will be a playlist soon on my channel for the IELTS sections. And apart from that, I also have a schedule you should check out. I also have tips and tricks videos that you should check out, because without those, this video is not going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. You can see my thought process, but when you have the tips in mind, then you can identify when I'm applying those tips. Okay, so hopefully this thing helped you. Let me know your scores on the IELTS reading section. I guarantee you, if you perform it like this, you can score a perfect 9. You can, 100%. I'm sure about it. Practice questions like I did today with you guys, and you can definitely score a 9. If you want, I'll practice with you. I'll make more videos. Let me know in the comments down below again. Okay, apart from that, let me know your scores. If you need my help, apart from that, the test, we also have a lot of test prep resources. I'll leave the link in the description so you can get those resources. Apart from that, if you need any help with the community, we have a YMGrad.com website where you can go ahead, connect with the community. Actually, I should show you right over here. Yeah, so you can just go on over here, YMGrad.com, and you can connect with the community. You can check out the universities, how they are working out their details, such as what's the average salary, all of these things. Yeah, so just wanted to give you some general information. We have some articles. Universities are waiving off the GRE, TOEFL, all of these things. So check these out. And apart from that, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for sticking with me for so long today. 25 minutes, that's gotta be very, very long. But thank you, and I hope that you have an amazing IELTS reading exam. Bye.